love you.
Oh my goodness, everyone. It's Rae from the Teach Better team, and I have Tiffany Ott with me. And
I
oh my
have Rae
gosh,
with
we are
me.
laughing from that Twitter chat.
That was a lot of fun.
Twitter chats are fun. I always have fun. I love this topic, but there was a few moments that I was like almost peeing in my pants laughing at some of this stuff.
Well, you know what I love? Like one of the many, many things I love about Twitter chats is that there is such a variety of chats that you could experience. Like some of them are like intense and make you like think and ponder and question yourself and reflect. And those are great. And some of them are like, we got this, hoorah, like we're all in this together. And then some of them are just hilariously awesome while we also learn. So this was a great chat tonight, Rae. Kudos to you for bringing up a topic that apparently our PLN had a lot to say about, which is phenomenal. It was such a good chat. So give me like a 30-second rundown of how you're feeling.
Oh my God, I'm just still laughing. There was a thread in the variety of tweets talking about how because we were talking about this topic, we need to all, I think it was you, we need to go on a road trip together.
Yep.
And which then led into a lot of you making fun of me, which I just found hysterical about my eating habits. And I just think it's funny. It was with the best group of people. So all of you that were in that thread, we are taking a road trip.
I know. I'm like, okay. I actually Googled 15-seat vans to see how many people we could fit in a van.
Just so you know, we'll be fed really well because Chad said he was bringing bacon and Chex Mix. I will, of course, bring salad and fries, and we are in a really good spot. What did you think?
No, that was really good. I have to be completely honest, full transparency. I got to question 3.
What did you do all chat, Tiff?
No, like a lot of it was actually not about salad and French fries, Rae. Like a lot of it was really meaningful, but PBL, STEM, Maker, they've got common threads, and PBL especially is something I'm really interested in. I really want to do well. I'm not doing it really well. And so a lot of it was like, I was soaking so much in and asking questions. And, I think a lot of times in PBL, it's implemented like a project or an end of the unit experience. And I know, and that it can be so much more than that when problem-based learning becomes not this thing we do at the end of the unit, but the unit itself. And I am still in the process of trying to figure that out. And you are like an expert on it. So I'm just soaking in so much. And maybe one of these days I'll get it figured out.
Yeah, I don't know that I got to all the questions, but just when you host, I feel like you get double the notifications. So I feel like I was dabbling in all of them. But
yeah,
gosh, it was crazy.
It was really good. Absolutely.
I think you focused on something really important, though, is that a lot of people, even just in the first question, had differing opinions. So to be able to like soak all that in and kind of break down the barriers, we had a bunch of tweets that were like PBL and STEM are the same thing. And a lot of people being like, no way they're the same thing. They're completely different. And here's why. And so even just within the first question, I was like, here we go. This is what I wanted.
We love that when there's disagreement. Like that's I don't know if it's yours too, but it's my favorite thing about Mastery Chat is when people in our PLN are comfortable enough to like challenge each other and push for deeper understanding. Like that is gold, and that's what needs to happen. So tell me, Rae, what's PBL?
All right. So especially all like combining all the Twitter conversations we had, right? PBL, the theme was that students were presented with a problem or a project that they were supposed to explore to complete. The theme was that this was either done individually, but more commonly in small groups.
Yeah.
And the hope for this was then they were solving something. And so that kind of evolved at the Twitter chat that maybe they were solving a problem in a community, solving a problem that they saw somewhere. But there was this discrepancy between project-based learning and problem-based learning, and having conversations with, are you presenting students with a project, which is more guided, or is it a problem and they are using their detective skills to find the solution, which may at the time may not have a solution that exists. So the students are really using innovation to solve it.
Right. So are you seeing Tall's comments? His most recent one, next chat, I am bringing the drama. We like that. That's great. That's awesome.
You know, I have to say, we did, I'm pausing before you respond to what I said, but just for Tall, I know that everyone knows this about him, but his classroom is insane. And literally the most innovative classroom maybe I've seen ever. And I just follow him on Instagram. Like, Tall, I need to get in your classroom somehow, some way. It needs to happen within the next year. But I just want to celebrate, like, if you're a teacher out there that saw something you liked in our chat, I so appreciate you connecting with me. I have a lot. I can share anything I can, but Tall is a really great resource for these. So I was so glad he participated in our chat, because I was like,
well, you mentioned him in one of the questions.
That was my trick.
So here's the thing about like PBL, right? And I think you hit the nail on the head when you talked about, is it project-based learning or is it problem-based learning? And I love a good project, but the piece that's always missing in a project for me is the so what of it. You know what I mean? Like, and you can go on, big fan of Teacher Pay Teacher, right? And you go on there and you look for problem-based or project-based learning things. And I've done this because I'm trying to like brainstorm ideas. And so much of them are just projects where you complete the different, steps in the thing. And I know that that's not really what I'm going for.
Yeah.
And I think that there's probably many teachers who are kind of like me who say, I want more, but I'm not like really sure how to take it from this project idea into something real. And for me, I'm just going to, one more thing. The biggest problem I have that I've run into when I'm trying to do this is finding an authentic problem is, okay, I can do that. Finding an authentic problem that my students have enough background information on to actually be able to tackle while learning more information and doing it within an allotted time frame, like that's where I get stuck. So I'm learning. And by the way, Tall says bring the van his way.
Yeah. Well, so Tiff, you focus on two directions I want to go, and I've been debating in my mind while listening to you which direction I wanted to go. But we'll start with the one. We're just gonna like spin a wheel and pick. But the one thing that you did say that I think is really important is, how do you make it manageable? Because that was my hope for this Twitter chat. And I'm not sure we necessarily got there wholeheartedly in all of the conversations, but you can't do any of these things unless you can find a manageable way to do it. And if you can't find a manageable way to do it, then you find a lot of the answers saw tonight where you have a night dedicated to these concepts, or you do it once. And I don't want to belittle those. I think it's great that we're dabbling by doing a STEM night. I think it's great that we're dabbling by doing one PBL unit a year.
A design challenge or Yeah.
And I'm not belittling those. I think that's great. Go explore. But that cannot be where we stop. Because if you only have one great interdisciplinary unit, then you're not really growing. Like, we got to elevate that to try and make it the norm that every day looks like that. So that management's important. And that was something that I saw necessary in my career a few years ago when I was trying to implement a self-paced system. And where when I connected with Chad Ruskowski and we were able to implement the grid method in my classroom, I had a problem where I knew I wanted a self-paced classroom. I knew I wanted it to be mastery focused, but I didn't have the management system. So I tried and failed and tried and failed and tried and failed until somebody, Chad, handed me, here's the solution, and gave it to me and was like, here, so I think that way with PBL, we kind of need too. We need the management system to kind of make everything fit the right way.
Well, and you have that, Rae. I mean, let's just cut to the chase. You have that and you've built that and it's available for teachers to learn from. It's called the Teach Further model and it's awesome. It's awesome. And I can't wait to like actually do it better than I'm doing it right now. Like you are so good at this. I mean, you've got community members on like speed dial on your phone and you've got this system and this approach, and I know it's attainable. Like that's, you know what I mean? I'm not sitting here like, I can't do it. Like, I know I'm going to. I'm just like,
so I
not
think
happening
that was
fast enough for me.
but that was the biggest piece, is like convincing people it's obtainable. I think in
Yes.
question 4, we talked about the limitations, and
Yeah.
there was a ton of them. I mean, people had endless lists of limitations, looked like their Christmas shopping list, right? And
Yeah.
to be honest, I love this. My principal, Chris McGraw, tweeted out, a challenge is only a challenge if you let it be. A hurdle is only a hurdle that can stop you if you've labeled it that way.
Yes.
So I think that was really important for me to see and try and push to our Mastery Chat family is this can limit you, but the only person who can decide that that's the case is you.
Right.
So let's move forward,
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's funny you mentioned that because it connects to a conversation I've been having on Twitter, actually, with some other people. I posted something about behavior management, right? And how the key to one of the most important keys is to behavior management is making sure that your class is relevant and meaningful to students and engaging, right? And there was this whole debate about, well, that's the parents' responsibility that students behave, and it's the administration's responsibility that students behave. And I'm like, yeah. But here's the deal. When I'm in my classroom, I am me. What can I do? And that's the same kind of thing. Like, where's a challenge? Let's find that challenge and not let it stop us. Let's find that challenge and then keep trying. Whether it takes us months or years to get to the point where we can do it, you just have to keep pushing. And so my first couple Teach Further units went okay, and they're going to go even better because I'm going to keep on like pushing myself to get to that point. And thank goodness I have you on speed dial.
Well, you know what? Everybody that's listening can have me on speed dial. But more importantly, I think, a lot of our decisions to try something, start with those baby steps. Tiff, you started with baby steps. And so as people kind of step away from this Twitter chat and say, okay, maybe I'll start exploring these concepts over winter break, start with baby steps. I was so glad to see Amber O'Day in our chat. I think she's commented in here a few times. Yeah. But Amber's phenomenal. She literally supports teachers for a living in the district that I work in. And she is constantly bringing new things to teachers. And so one of the limitations she voiced, which is practical, is time. And the only solution to finding more time is just fiercely hunting for it and taking baby steps and taking, every little bit that you can get, because, she lives it. She's just encouraging teachers to take one more tiny risk every single day. And so I think that's so powerful. All of us can continue to learn from her and do that.
Yeah, well, in the pre-chat too, we were talking, Rae, about one of the things I loved about this chat, because I got to see all the questions ahead of time, is that it's a chat that could, like, you could enter here. Like, I've never done anything PBL. I know what STEM is, but I've never really explored it. Or you could enter it here, where I've been playing around with this. How can I take it a step further? And it's just like we want to do for our students, like the low floor, high ceiling kind of math problems where everybody can enter. And then it also provides these opportunities for pushing further. And I really think that PBL is something that, you're right, if you can do it in this, that's a really good start. Like if you're here and you take it here, that's everything we talk about here on the Teach Better team. It's about, where are you now? Where can you go next? And let's be on this journey together. And that's, I'm waxing poetic here because I really do believe in our philosophy and our mission so much, and the power of every single educator out there. We all have the ability to move one step further. We just have to take it. You know what I mean?
So I'm going to flip it on you, Tiff.
Okay.
Now that we talked about PBL. Yeah. What did you learn about STEM?
Okay. So STEM, I can talk a little bit more about STEM. STEM is something that I think I'm fairly comfortable with. Maybe I'm going to out myself as really not knowing anything about it. I think
I believe in you.
STEM and PBL are kind of like a Venn diagram, right? Like they can have things in common. I think STEM, it's the science, tech, engineering, and math. So trying to find ways to make the learning experiences our students are doing relevant for the world that we live in today. And the world we live in today is a very STEM world. We know that technology jobs are not technology jobs only, but STEM jobs are one of the fastest growing job fields out there. It's what our students are most likely going to be doing. And so making sure that we are bringing that into the conversation, whether it's learning how to code, because coding is an important skill if you're going to be in a tech field, or learning just a stronger emphasis on the sciences and the math and the tech, because that's where we need to be. So it's not so much, in my mind, maybe I'm misinterpreting it, but it's not so much like a STEM unit. It's more STEM has to be a part of everything we do, because it is so inherently a part of everything that we do in our lives. How'd I do?
I think pretty good.
Did I?
I like, I've always learned about STEM, and I continue to learn. And I have to go back. I said it in our pre-chat, because Tal's here. Tal, I'm going to talk about you, and you better interrupt us in the comments. I didn't realize I wasn't scrolled up. You guys have been messaging us, and we didn't even know. But I'm about to say something that I'm going to quote Tal, and then if I'm wrong, he better be like, "Right, don't you quote me wrong, right?" Whatever. But one of the things I've learned about STEM as I continue to research it is that it's very guided.
Yes.
So you have a series of tasks, all of courses in the math, tech, engineering, science field, and students are essentially going through, similar to a project that you had alluded to earlier. They're going through at their own pace, but they're building or doing something within that STEM field. And the problem I see with that, even with the work I've been able to do with our Chamber of Commerce recently, is that you can only build so many STEM units, because they essentially have to have so much guide that at some point, how do you integrate that into day-to-day versus a PBL, a problem-based, you're allowing students to really explore, and it's not so much guided following directions, but they're actually finding solutions to the problems that they are creating almost for themselves.
Right.
And so I think there's a lot of value in this shift of, STEM teachers are really focusing on engineering, but how can we integrate problem solving into that as well?
Well, yeah. No, go ahead.
We had somebody in our chat who was a PBL school that uses STEM. That made sense to me.
Also in Ohio, by the way.
I know, I saw that.
Yeah, Ohio.
She's a part of our road trip crew.
I know. So there's something too that I think is important, and I think I've talked about this before, and we've talked about it as a team. We have this PBL and STEM and Maker and interdisciplinary units and, all of these different things that have different names, have slightly different interpretations, right? Like different lenses, I guess, that you could say you're looking at learning through. But I'm always kind of struck by how they're the same, but they're not the same. Like if we break it down, not in the how do you do STEM, how do you do PBL, how do you do this, but you break it down more in terms of what's the goal and what's the purpose of it, then we can worry less about what each one of these things individually is if we can focus on the fact that we want our students engaged in relevant and real experiences where they're actually doing and thinking and build, not building stuff, but like building ideas and building solutions. And so whether it's PBL that gets you there, or STEM that gets you there, or Maker that gets you there, like they're really all getting to the same place. And when we kind of look at one in isolation, we run the risk of really getting to the meat of what it's all about. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think that's eventually where our chat shifted,
Yeah.
which I want to talk about. Tal commented here, use STEM to build knowledge base, use STEM to build the love for science, tech, math, and engineering, then allow STEM to show its space in your PBL units. That's what I like that. That's really what I was thinking too.
He's just awesome.
He's a genius, whatever.
Yeah.
Here, Molly says it too. Yes, PBL is our delivery model for STEM. I agree. That's awesome. That was cool to see in our chat. But Tiff, what you were saying before is how the real purpose of this whole thing is to give our students authentic mediums to explore relevant information.
Right.
And I think that was, at least hopefully that I saw, hopefully the shift that our Twitter chat made, where teachers are now saying, okay, great, all these acronyms are fantastic, but once we evolve our community, then now we have that purpose. And that was the goal of the chat, is to highlight the need for purpose, regardless of your acronym that you're using today.
Right. And that's like a core connecting thread between all of them. And, as you were talking, I was thinking, STEM became STEAM integrating the arts, and then STEAM became, what is it? STEAM? Have you seen that one? SHTEAM,
No?
with like humanities folded in. And
Ooh.
I've heard some people kind of derisively thinking about that, like, well, you're just going to add everything into it and then it's not STEM anymore. But I think the point is that it's not about science, tech, engineering, math, maker, whatever. It's about that core concept. And we have to continuously bring ourselves back to that core concept.
And the integration of all of these things in one. Our world is not in isolation. So if we can find ways to be more interdisciplinary in our classrooms, I mean, that's the goal, right? We need to, there's no way you walk into a grocery store and you are in isolation paying with money, in isolation calculating your grocery bill. You are using all of the skills, all of these academics to be able to make those decisions, including exploratory and the arts and everything else. So I think that focus is something that teachers are cognizant of, but we need to do better. And I need to do better. I just hope that we all make goals to really blend these soft skills and these other core values into our classrooms, because that's where the purpose lies.
Yeah. And it is a tough road. You know what I mean? Like, it's not an easy thing to be able to do all that when you have a district saying you have your students for 42 minutes and you have these assessments and you have to get through this in X amount of time. But it comes back again to the fact that all of those things are things that we could easily say, okay, I can't do this, right? We can only change one thing, and that's what we do in our classrooms. And so we just continuously push for what we do in our classrooms to get better and better and better. Yeah. Love it all. So many feel-good things. And a road trip that apparently we have to take all over the country.
And I'm so glad that nobody's going to judge me for eating salad and fries at every meal, because they'll already know before the road trip begins.
Oh, Tall saying good night. Good night, Tall. You put your 4-year-old to bed.
Bye, Tall.
Tell him Teach Better Team loves him. Or girl. Is it a girl or a boy? I don't know what it is. Whatever your child is, we say hello. All right. We're getting like way out there.
I know. Tiff, this was a really fun chat. I appreciate that you were live with me before and then very active in the chat along with everybody else that we had. And then now we get to talk about it, because even on this chat, I know we're still in a position where, well, we know the concepts we're talking about. Our whole purpose is just to encourage teachers to take a little bit more of a risk tomorrow and start asking those questions. If you feel like you have limitations, feel free to ask. How can we help? You know, how can we brainstorm with you? I do want to share really quick tip that I got to have a really fun conversation with a former student teacher this afternoon.
Yeah.
I know, it's so fun. And she's doing exactly that. She is choosing to take a little bit of a risk in her classroom and literally reach out to me to be like, can we just brainstorm it? And I was like, yes. So even whether you're in our classrooms as a student teacher or not, please reach out, because this whole avenue of asking questions and trying something and having a mentor to support you. I mean, like, I have countless mentors that I talk to every single day. And if we can help you in any way possible, take a risk and try something new, I hope you reach out, because we'll be sad if you don't.
And apparently Rae's a big fan of Voxer, which I've used, but apparently I need to use more. So if you want to chat with Rae, get Voxer. She'll talk to you every single day.
Okay, and here's the one thing I don't know. Here's one thing I don't know that somebody here needs to message me about, who's listening, Voxer people. I don't know how you make friends on Voxer. Like, I've only connected with people on Voxer that I've met on Twitter or on Instagram, and then we've taken our conversation to Voxer. So somebody needs to teach me how to not be creepy and connect with more people on Voxer, but we'll learn that later.
Oh, you know what? There's one more thing we need to mention, Rae, that we totally didn't mention in the pre-chat.
I know
this is a really big deal because it's happening tomorrow morning and we all need to know about it. So Rae, spill the beans. What is it?
We are releasing a brand new course tomorrow morning on standard-based grading, but this is like more enhanced than the free version that we have. We are releasing a full course to help teachers implement standard-based grading, standard-based learning philosophies in their classroom.
Step by step, like it's everything they need to launch and get it running, and it's going to be awesome. So Oh, Amber says, is there a group you follow? Are there groups in Voxer?
Yes, there's groups. I was in one. It was a little overwhelming. It was really sweet, but there was like 500 people and it was just a lot. But yes, there are groups in Voxer. I haven't figured them out yet, but there are.
So standards-based grading course. Thank you, Amber, for saying that. I'm going to go look up groups in Voxer. Standards-based grading course comes out tomorrow morning. If you are already a Teach Better Academy member, so you have the $9 a month membership, and you have access to like every single course ever and all the future ones, which is fabulous. Rae's course will just be ready for you because of your membership. It's right there. If you're not a member, you can always go on and be a member because the membership is less money than buying Rae's course tomorrow, but whatever, you do you. And if you're not a member, check out the course tomorrow. It will be live. You can take it. You can get continuing education credits if your school district accepts like a certificate from Online PD. We're going to send that to you. You get a cute little badge, digital badge. That's awful fun. And you get Rae's awesomeness for hours and hours and hours.
Hours and hours.
That's
and
right.
Every resource possible that I could think to share with you.
Yeah. So lots and lots of downloadable things for you. All right. Well, Rae, you are an awesome moderator. We love you so much. I love chatting with you on Mastery Chat nights. It's
so
really,
much
really
fun. All right. For everyone else, we love you too. And we will see you later.
Bye.